Scotland forever!
On the 7th of July 1307, Longshanks died while trying to lead his last invasion into Scotland. He took his last breath, being able to see Scotland, but not standing on its soil. The new king was King Edward II, which will be referred to as such in this video. And with Longshanks now dead, this was the perfect time for Bruce to consolidate his position in the northeast of Scotland. Bruce had to continue the war, not only against the English, but the Scots that opposed him, and there were plenty. One such Scot was John of Lorne, who was located at Dunstafnage Castle in the Western Highlands, with Barbour telling us that he had a force of 2,000 men. The Royal Army most likely travelled around the head of the Loch Awe, and this would lead to a place called the Pass of Brander. Bruce would have seen this obvious strong defensive spot. This was an obvious ambush waiting to happen, and marching in there blindly would end in complete annihilation. So what did Bruce do? He marched in there blindly. On a decent morning, the mist normally lingers on the hills and rises as the sun heats the air up, and Bruce would use this to his advantage. James was the main man Bruce needed for the job he had in mind. James was tasked with taking a force with lightly armed men, mostly with bows, of the pass. They were to make their way along the heights till they were above the pass. From there they would ambush the ambushers when they were in bow shot range. Meanwhile, Bruce would march the main force straight into the path as if they were forcing their way through. The next morning, Bruce marched into the pass. It was so narrow that horses had to march in single file lines. John of Lorne was a pussy, so he chose to spectate the battle from a galley while his men did the dirty work. The battle then began by rolling boulders down to cause mayhem within the long drawn out column. The intention is to break morale in the formation and then to sweep in to destroy the Royal Army, but they never managed to get that far, as Bruce planned this battle to a T and had most of his nimble soldiers scrambling up the hill the moment the ambush began to engage the Lorne loyalists. At the same time, James had unconcealed his men and fired a volley of arrows into Lorne's men. Lorne's men realised they were toast and outnumbered and tried to mount a defence, but when James's men dropped their bow and arrows and charged into them, it quickly fell and broke apart. The survivors fleeing to regroup towards the far end of the pass with the River Awe into Loch Etive. The pass crossed a bridge and the men tried to destroy the bridge, but Bruce's men didn't let that happen and quickly managed to charge over the bridge and cut down the defenders. When John of Lorne realised that he had lost, he fled back to England on his boat, and with that, Bruce took out another enemy and retaken another castle. After consolidating his position in Argyll, Bruce held a council at Ardchatton Priory on the north shore of Loch Etive. James would have been present and would have held a dominant position.
That's my job. That's my job. That's my job.